going to be the icebreakers of today's morning session. And Mr. Gerasimchuk, I was contemplating at your previous words. You were saying, and you mentioned actually perceiving, perception, the way we see each other, the way we used to see each other. I think, because if one thing has changed during these 30 years, and of course such a milestone, it's always a good opportunity to reflect on the past, present, but also on the future, what we can do and what we can achieve more together. One thing which has changed during these 30 years, I think it's perception and knowledge of each other. And I think the last 5 months have been decisive and instrumental actually in this regard. And I was thinking that actually the last 5 months have been so intense, if you want, in the dynamic of our bilateral relations. And probably, I mean, we all agree that had it not been for the 24th of February and the unprovoked and unjustified Russian aggression against Ukraine, of course, our speeches would have been also different. And I think this extraordinary context generated by the Russian aggression has placed bilateral relations between Romania and Ukraine in a new setting. And I think it has also highlighted in this new setting the structural connections and the multiple connections, of course, which unite us now more than ever, and also added, I think, new visible actors in these relations, adding new dimensions. And I think one big decisive new dimension which has been added is actually the population and the civil society factors, NGOs. After the 21st of February, there's been a tremendous, as you know very well, mobilization coming from the Romanian population, which also literally welcomed Ukrainian refugees in open arms, and they've cared in trying to facilitate, in finding homes, in helping everyone as they could, in helping them enrolling into schools. I think this is an extra and a new dimension, and it's also has been a very good and fruitful partnership between public and private sectors in Romania. But I would like to highlight again this dimension, because I think this is the one that actually has to do with what you said at the beginning of perception, because people on both sides of the border, Romanians and Ukrainians, in these last 5 months and 5 months and a few days, have had really the opportunity to know each other, to hear each other's stories. Of course, the Romanian population has witnessed and has seen what's going on in Ukraine, and has helped as much as it could, and will continue to do so. And on the other hand, of course, the government continues to work constantly to help Ukraine actually dealing with the most severe, I think, threats and challenges since it gained its independence. That's clear. And I know also from our cooperation with other ministries, be it transport ministries, agriculture, and so on and so forth, education. I mean, Ukraine is present in all our daily work. We talk a lot about it. We cooperate with each institution. We try to do programs. We try to do good as much as we can. We try to fix things, to reach decisions which are important. And I see this machinery, and I see it every day, and I see it. And that's why I was saying at the beginning that these 5 months have been the most intense, and if you want, in an interesting way, extraordinary times, extraordinary harsh circumstances like the ones now for Ukraine are in a way a marker, and I think they show a lot about neighbors, about who you can rely on in these difficult times. We also, I think, after the 24th of February, a valuable lesson for many states has to do with perception of the Russian threat, because it was clear after the 21st of February, had it been doubts before that, after the 21st of February, no one had doubts anymore. So I think that's also a thing to deal with, and that a very clear thing. And of course, the Romanian government will continue to work. Probably you know some of the figures, some of the statistics. I mean, we're trying to work on every situation, on every, if you want, level. There are refugees in Romania, and education access, access to universities, to facilities, to homes, transport, and so on and so forth. We try to help, of course, Ukraine overcoming economic obstacles which arise, for instance, from the Russian blockade in the Black Sea, because Ukraine needs to export its valuable export merchandise, and of course, grains are that very important asset that Ukraine has, and Ukraine needs to export. And we have tried to meet also these expectations, and we've tried to smoothen things up, to ease the traffic, to facilitate the transit of goods, be it on the roads, for transport cars being on the also on the rail. We've tried to fix some railway gauges, and of course in the most parts be it on the sea, because we've tried to ease up the exits and to facilitate transit through Constanța and Sulina, as you know very well. There is a humanitarian hub established in March in Suceava, near the frontier with Ukraine. It's been working well. Many trucks have gone on the other side. I think it's a vivid, ongoing, lively démarche every day to really help and come in supporting these needs. Then we have, of course, the upcoming reconstruction process, which is a huge endeavor where we'll have participants from all over Europe. So if you want, in a few words, in a nutshell, I think our bilateral relations are living, I think, every day a time of practical achievements, of practical steps of cooperation. I think this is more important than anything else, because in trying to connect, to ease traffic, to lend support there and there, it's a bilateral relations that every day gets richer and richer and adds new things. On the other hand, we see our duty to in regard with this excellent bilateral relations, to talk about and to stand for Ukraine. So we have remained vocal in speaking out and in standing for our principled position, and we reiterate with every occasion, wherever we go, to whomever we speak, our full support for Ukraine's independence, the sovereignty, territorial integrity. I think this is also a thing which we have to do along our bilateral relations, to show the same level of support, of remaining vocal. I think that's a key, and I think as a message for not only for Romania, for many states, is to speak out loudly, to highlight what Ukraine is going through, what are the Ukrainian needs, and of course that these principles are independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, because actually Ukraine has been the victim of Russian aggression, of this unjustified, unbelievable, preposterous act of aggression. And what we also learned about our neighbors, about Ukrainians on a bilateral level, and we've seen these months, how resilient Ukrainian institutions and Ukrainian society is. We have learned, we've seen that also, Sergei, after 2014. But I think that now, more than ever in 2022, after February 24th, Ukraine and Ukrainians have had to withstand a huge mounting pressure every day coming from Russia. And the way Ukrainians have managed to withstand that, to overcome obstacles, to deal with threats, as you were saying, threats to their lives every day. I mean, people are living also with the thinking and under constant threats. And I think the mobilization of Ukrainian society have been exemplary, and that's why also on the other side of the border in Romania we have tried to connect in every way we could to these needs and to maintain the same support. I think after 30 years of bilateral relations, I think what we've learned more about each other in this unfortunate 5 months and difficult 5 months for Ukraine, but we have learned a lot. And I think Ukrainians have learned a lot also about Romanians and how reliable we are as a neighbor. And we've also learned about Ukrainians how tough and resilient and how good they are at doing what they are doing every day, repelling the Russian aggression and being firm on the positions. And I think that's probably one of the most valuable lessons. And I think that's one thing we've learned about each other. I was looking at the titles, part of the title of today's session, the future of cooperation under the pressure of war. And I think that our cooperation can only be positive. And we talk in full honesty on a bilateral level as diplomats. Whenever we meet with our fellow Ukrainian colleagues, we talk in full honesty. We've had this exercise for a while now. You've mentioned at the beginning that there were perhaps times when people didn't trust each other that much. I think the way we talk now will definitely continue. It's a very open, engaging way in full honesty. And I think you've asked about key achievements, key challenges. I think some of the key challenges perhaps you've mentioned are definitely way behind us now. Challenges perhaps of the late 90s, challenges of the 2000s, after 2009, which you mentioned also. I think I see in our bilateral relations the challenges behind, and I think the key achievements are in front of us and are where we are now. Here I see a key achievement, or the intensity of our bilateral dialogue at high speed. We can talk, and we talked about any issues, be them more or less comfortable. We are neighbors who can rely on each other, and I think that's a big achievement. And I think every country has perhaps if you want, the duty, the cultural duty to get to know more about each other. And sometimes in time of hardship, in time of tough circumstances, those are the times when you see character, where you see common values and a high reliance on each other. And I think that's, at the end of the day, the biggest benefit we can have from each other. Thank you so much, Sergey.